either her trying to emasculate you to see if it works, or her trying to see if she can get taken care of by you. So it's either. So now you're in this relationship with her. You reached up, picked her up off the ground and said, I love you. You're my person. This effectively, because hypergamy is real and she does think this way, whether she believes it or not, he must think I'm at his level because he picked me. Uh-oh. I don't know if I am really at his level. I'm not sure if I'm at his level or not. I have insecurity now. Like, what do I do? And so then what ends up happening? Test, right? Okay. Now the start happening. Now she starts laying out her demands. Now she starts bringing drama because she's unsure. When she was happy and crying at the engagement ring and, going down the aisle saying, I do, for those married guys. She had the big party, all the emotions. She wasn't thinking, oh, this is some schlub I'm settling with. She was in love with that guy. I mean, assuming the day went well and things are going well, like on the honeymoon, she's got all the trust for this guy, right? Hasn't kicked in yet that he lifted her up with this commitment. And once that starts to kick in, she doesn't trust. She doesn't trust herself, and she doesn't trust you or the guy. And it's nothing you've done to be untrustworthy. This is just the nature of what happens in the mind, okay? And it just is, all right? Because we're not designed to last longer than a couple years in relationships. We're not designed to fly either, but we fly in airplanes all the time, right? So I'm not saying you can't have a happy relationship, but we certainly had to do a lot of research and development to figure out how to get up in the sky and fly places. Same with your relationship. So what happens is you can break down every test, every piece of drama, every problem that she starts all of a sudden happening, including the lack of sexual frequency and things revolving around that. We can boil it down to this: emasculation. Either her trying to emasculate you to see if it works, or her trying to see if she can get taken care of by you. Can I trust his masculinity, his leadership inabilities, or can I trust his, willingness to care for me? All right. Comfort or whatever. So there's a lot of ways to break down this, but in the simplest, format, we can look at it like that. So now you're vacuuming the house to try to reduce her stress. Her sex is not as much because she's so stressed out now. Well, she wasn't that stressed out, a year and a half ago when life was harder, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when life may have been arguably harder. She was banging you all the time. Now, all of a sudden, she's too stressed out, right? And you got to vacuum the house more. You see, all of these reasons she doesn't feel sexually, wanting to be engaged with you sexually, they all get externalized to you as the man. That's part of this testing of your leadership and masculinity. And she'll either emasculate you because you allow for that to happen, or, you'll demonstrate something otherwise. But it's all leadership. It's lack of trust in herself. She starts causing you drama, causing you problems, right? You're trying to do more, and she's doing less. And what ends up happening for you guys who don't know these things, because you don't know it, you're just doing the best you can, is your perceived mate value, which at once in the beginning was super high, now gets down here. There was a caveman named Grok who had eyes for the lovely Neela. Neela was the most beautiful cave woman in the tribe, with her sparkling eyes, infectious laughter, and fat booty. But Grok wasn't the only one smitten by her. All the Chads and Tyrones of the land wanted her too. He tried different ways to attract her, showing off his prowess with a spear, doing favors, bringing gifts, and even serenading her under the moonlit sky. But Neela never seemed to return his affections.
She was always kind to Grok, but Grok was only 5'10", and Neela only had eyes for the 6-foot-tall Chads, or so he thought. Determined more than ever, Grok decided to do a pickup artist boot camp in a faraway land. He built up his confidence and learned how to talk to hundreds of cave Stacys, even winning the affection of a few. But when Grok came home to use his newfound skills on Neela, he could sense that same disinterest in her eyes. He could get average Stacys to want to bear his children, but could not win over Neela, or any cave woman as beautiful as she. The pickup artistes told Grok it's a numbers game, and that he had to sleep with thousands of drunk Stacys to get a beauty like Neela. Confused, Grok went to the secret societies of different color pills for advice, but all they could offer were different chants of, "Just next her, bro," and "She only bangs Chads," over and over again. If only I could learn real seduction skills to make Neela fall in love with me, Grok thought. Neela went on to live happily ever after, having babies with a man named Og. Og had secretly learned sexpionage skills. Og was 5'5". The problem with pickup courses today is that they rely on the numbers game. You talk to hundreds of girls and finally a chick wants to sleep with you. And usually these aren't the women of your dreams. Sexpionage is my new course that will train you how to actually seduce the women that you want. Not just get dates with women who you aren't that excited about. You will learn deep persuasion skills borrowed from the elite corners of the espionage world that will train you how to persuade anyone and how to seduce anyone, from the woman you just met to your wife or girlfriend. Enrollment opens April 22nd and closes on the 26th. Click the link and don't miss this opportunity. It's the only one you'll get this year.
She starts doing a lot of things within the relationship to test. And because uncertainty creates these tests. And when you start failing those tests, okay, and you don't have frame, when you don't bring the leadership and masculinity that she expects and hopes for, then she has to then bring that herself to the relationship. And when she has to bring the lack of leadership and lack of masculinity that you're bringing to the table, when she has to do that, what happens is she perceives her mate value is higher. And once she perceives her mate value is higher, sexual attraction is gone now. All right. So now it's purely transactional at that point. So this is what happens 2 years into a marriage or cohabitation relationship. The guy's trying to do everything and finding himself in a place of discontent more and more and more. Ends up being a transactional equation. These are all the benefits I want from this relationship. What's the least amount of work I can do to get it? And that's when you're down to once a month sex, to once every couple months, to sleeping in separate bedrooms, all that. And you're just like going to work. I'll pay the bills. I'll take care of the kids. I'll clean the kitchen. I'll make the dinner. You're doing all the that you've been told that'll make you into a good man. A lot of my clients, that's what they do to find her sexually unattracted. And it's her emotions that tell her to do it. Her emotions kick in. A lot of times it turns literally into a logical equation. Okay, we just banged in January. He should be good till February. Like they literally just have a countdown in their heads. It becomes part of the transaction of most marriages and most serious cohabitating relationships. All right. Again, and this is why hypergamy plays the role, because why is her sexual switch off? And why is she disgusted by her man? Well, because she emasculated him. He allowed it because he didn't have, for a number of reasons. He's trying to do better, trying to be a good man. So he put up with it and allowed it. And now her attraction is less because she feels like my mate value and my value in this relationship must be more. When you talk to people with bad marriages, bad relationships, and they're not going well and the sex is low, the woman will often talk about how she does everything, how she brings more value to the relationship. She doesn't say it like that, but she'll be like, I do this, I do that. He doesn't do anything. Blah, 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 blah. It's this massive ego that she has thinking that she brings all this shit to the table and he doesn't bring anything to the table. So why would I want to have sex with him? Like, right? That becomes the argument. And, you know, we can put it on women because it is them that's doing it. Like, this is what chicks do. This is what chicks are doing. Okay, this is what they're wired to do. This is what happens. But I'm not going to like shame women for it. It's how they're wired. What prevents it from happening this way is one of two things. Either a girl, like a light bulb goes on for fucking girl, regardless of her husband, and she realizes she's fucking her life up and that she's got to do something different to change this dynamic. And then she starts doing that, right? That can spark some change. But that's not enough. All right? Because the unfortunate thing for her and the fortunate thing for you, I think it's a fortunate thing, it's a good thing, is although it may be her doing her mechanisms that's creating this, because if it was a guy, you know, like if her brain worked like a guy, you guys would just be fucking all the time. And this would never be a thing, right? Like, because of the way her brain works and because of the nature of relationships, period, that you cannot change. Okay, this is a thing that her brain will do unless you do things differently with your frame. All right, you can't get away from it. She can't really get away from it. She can try, but she can only get away from it and have a happy relationship if you participate by taking the leadership and taking charge, you know. And if a woman says the words come out of her mouth, let him be in charge, then you're not in charge, you know. But really it's submitting. All right. So, I mean, generally speaking, I mean, we can get into language, but you know, generally speaking, she has got to submit. And what it really means is surrender. I did a video on surrendering. Maybe I'll throw it in the cards for you guys that haven't seen it yet. She has to surrender to the relationship. So do you. And a natural polarity will occur when everyone, you know, says, fuck it, stops trying to protect themselves and just trust their partner, even if it's blind trust. What ends up happening is she falls into a more submissive role. He falls into a more dominant leadership role. She's not fighting his dominance to try to, you know, maintain power. He's not trying to, you know, manipulate or control her in any way to maintain power. And everybody ends up falling into a happy place. But you actually have to, it takes mental and emotionally elevating yourself to be able to, you know, surrender to that relationship. Pick the right person and surrender to it. Both of you guys.